Hello. We're now going to talk about mastering the top 3 skills that you need in order to become a successful keynote speaker. And by the way, I got this information from one of my clients that's a Fortune 25 company that's headquartered in Paris, France. So this is information that's coming from the corporate environment that I know are 3 major top skills that you must possess in order to become a successful keynote speaker. Number 1 is mastering stage presence. Now you're probably thinking to yourself, what the hell does he mean? Stage presence is all about how you carry yourself. What are you wearing? Are you keeping your chin up? Are you projecting your voice loudly and clearly? Are you delivering your message clearly and concisely? Are you speaking in a manner where it's coming out fluidly and professionally and you're not stammering or stuttering? Are you confident? Are you confident not just in the way you look and you carry yourself? Are you confident in the content that you're speaking about to the audience? So, stage presence really has developed into a major skill set that separates below average speakers to world-renowned speakers. Now, let's talk about maybe somebody like Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins has absolutely some of the most impressive stage presence I've ever seen. What he does is he always wears the same outfit. He always is carrying himself in a manner that is professional. He's always talking from a position of strength, and he's always putting the content that he's talking about. He truly believes it, he knows it, he lives it, and he breathes it. So this man is a great epitome example of someone who has mastered stage presence. So for me, what I find that works very well is I prefer, if possible, to stand to the left of the stage point where I have the PowerPoint kind of like in the middle and I'm off to the left, because people, they look from left to right when you're on stage. So I found that to be very instrumental in helping me develop stage presence. Also, when I'm speaking to a corporate audience, unless I'm told not to do it by my client, I always wear a suit. A suit is going to put you in a position where people look at you and take you more seriously. They're going to think, wow, there he is, there she is in their custom suit. It shows respect to the clients. It shows respect to your content. And it also just shows that you are stepping your game up and really putting yourself in a position to separate yourself from other people. So that is why, unless I'm told to by my client, I always wear a suit and a tie, no questions asked. I'm also always talking from a position of conviction and strength, and I always believe in what I'm saying. So mastering stage presence is something that if you start to do that, and we'll talk in a little bit about how you can leverage some of these 3 skill sets as you're practicing to develop becoming a great keynote speaker. It's important that you understand that stage presence is a huge game changer, especially if you're someone who's just trying to break into speaking. You need to really hammer home and be on your A game with stage presence. Again, the way you dress, the way you carry yourself, and where you stand on stage to show a position of strength. So that's mastering stage presence. The second one, the second point or the second skill set you need to develop and master to become a great keynote speaker is this: audience engagement. Think about that. Audience engagement. Is your audience looking at you when you are speaking, or are they looking at their phone? Can you really lock eyes with everyone or most everyone in the room because they are so engaged in what you're saying? Now, what I have learned over time that when people are in an audience and they're listening to a keynote speaker, giving them instructional points is great. You need to do that, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But before that, what comes to work really, really well when trying to engage people in the audience to listen to you as you are a keynote speaker is the art of storytelling. Think about that. When you have been in an audience hearing a speaker, if they're talking to you about bullet points, you are probably listening if you're learning something. But when they're storytelling and they're giving examples of what they've been through in their life, or things they've gone through or endured, or how they went from the bottom to the top, back to the bottom, and maybe trying to come up to the top again. When people storytell, audience engagement is shown to go up almost 75%. I'm going to say that number one more time. Audience engagement is known to go up almost 75% when speakers and good keynote speakers use the art of storytelling. So, as you are working on content, developing ideas, trying to master the craft of engaging an audience, understand that you have a story. We all do. But you have to learn how to have an opening, then your custom suit story, then challenge the audience, and then teach them something. But in that custom suit, and throughout your whole presentation in general, you need to be storytelling. You need to be giving people information, giving people experiences that you have gone through or known people to go through personally that relate to the topic people are in the room listening to. So audience engagement is huge, because if a meeting planner or an organization can see that their audience is actually engaged in what you're saying, is actually taking to heart the messaging that you're pouring out, they are much more likely to refer you out to other people and to help you get traction, to get the ball rolling, to start getting those nice paid speaking jobs. But before you get a paid speaking job, unless you're like Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, Lady Gaga, a superstar, you're never going to get that until you can show some traction and experience by doing free gigs. That's how I started. I did a lot of free gigs in the beginning. And I'm going to tell you right now, these 3 skill sets, I did not possess any of them when I started. So the fact that you're learning them right now is extremely helpful and beneficial to you, so you aren't going to face the same type of adversity and triumphs and struggles that I did. Again, I faced tremendous adversity, struggles, and setbacks in my career. Now, I'm not telling you that you're not going to still have any after watching this video or buying this course. I'm not saying that. The hope is that you have less of those issues, that you have less of those setbacks by watching this course. Because if you have information that you can apply as you're trying to go down the road of being a speaker, you can achieve greatness. And I say this all the time. Information is excellent, but you have to put it into action. I also have this saying, knowledge is power. Applying that knowledge is life-changing. So the first skill set is mastering stage presence. The next skill set is audience engagement. And the third skill set, which some meeting planners say is probably the most important one of all, because it shows your ability to connect with people, but also to teach people. The third skill that you must master to become an exceptionally good keynote speaker is the mastering skill of teaching your audience information that they didn't know before. So when I go and speak for organizations, I'm always telling them about some type of opening story or opening quote geared around the topic that I was hired for. Then I always give them my custom suit story about who I am, where I'm from, how I got to where I am today, what I've been through, the trials, the tribulations, the success, the failures, all of that. Then I tell them how I got to where I am today. But after that, I always challenge them with a question about how they can get better. But after I challenge them, I then give them information. I then give them actionable steps that they can utilize in their own life to achieve greatness. If you are a speaker who has a great story, has great stage presence, engages the audience, but you don't teach them anything, you are probably not going to get hired by that meeting planner again, and you probably will not be referred out by that meeting planner to another meeting planner in any stretch of the imagination. Because audiences want information. They want to know actionable steps that they can put into their own lives to help them achieve greatness for what they are trying to do with their individual specific journeys. So, the 3 skills that you must master and become an expert in to become a very good, well-paid, eventually keynote speaker are the following: mastering the art of stage presence, mastering the art of audience engagement, mastering the art of teaching your audience information that they did not know. Now, how do you develop these skills? You develop these skills by learning how to, when you talk about stage presence, always looking at what you're going to wear, keeping your chin up, practicing in the mirror. That's a great way. How do you end up developing audience engagement? Learn how to, as you're talking through your presentations, how can you give information or how can you give extra stories that the audience seems to be responding well to? As you get on stage more and get more, actual activity and actual practice on stage in front of people, you'll learn how to, we call it, work the room and give more stories around a certain topic that the audience might be engaged in. Or if you're talking about something that's important but they're not really responding well to it, you can shorten up that part of your presentation and move on. And then the third thing, the best way to develop the skill set of teaching someone something is to never stop learning yourself. We can all always continue to learn. The more content you pick up by watching speakers and their reels, reading books, listening to Audible and audio books, interacting with people, the more you can gain and have access to knowledge that you can put into your own mind, that will help you get information out to the audience because you yourself are always learning that information. So those are some ways to develop those are some ways to develop each of those individual skills to help you master them to become an expert. Now, in closing, the best way to leverage these skills is simple. Practice, practice, practice. If you have a big speech coming up that you might be nervous about, or if this is going to be your first keynote speech ever, or if you are going to be speaking in front of people and you're a little bit just unsure of yourself, learn how to practice. Have dress rehearsals. In the National Football League, we call them walkthroughs. Put on a suit. Put on the outfit you're going to wear. Go downstairs in front of the mirror. Practice. Have someone in your household sit down and listen to you. Let them be your audience. Again, you don't have to do your whole presentation. You can shorten it up. But sit down, have them sit down, and you are going to be up there giving your presentation. And then when you're doing this and you're leveraging these skill sets, be sure that somewhere near the end of your presentation, you're hammering home educational parts, educational knowledge and or information that's going to teach that person that is practicing with you something new. So again, the best way to leverage these skills is to practice them or have what we call a walkthrough in the outfit you're going to wear, have someone in your household be the audience, and be sure to focus on teaching that person something new that they didn't learn.